All right. Good morning, YouTube. It is March 26th. So I want to apologize. That video I put up, the first one ever, oh man, was that bad. I'll tell you what, if you want to fall asleep or if you have trouble falling asleep, just throw that puppy on there and I guarantee you, lights out, 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops if you're an insomniac. Guarantee it. Gonna try to do a little bit better. Whew. Man. All right. So, where are we at today? Well, I'm in Pennsylvania. Like I mentioned, I'm about an hour and a half north of Philly. And the county that I live in, and the county that I grew up in, which is a little bit east of here, stay-at-home orders. Now, it's not necessarily new for Pennsylvania. We've had kind of stay-at-home orders for the last week, maybe 2 weeks, if memory serves. But now, it's official. And there seems to be some debate as to whether or not, Governor Wolf actually has the authority to shut down school businesses. Needless to say, we'll figure it out after this is all done. But he said, stay at home. All right, stay at home, relax. Don't go outside unless it's absolutely necessary to businesses and things like that. But yet you can still walk around outside as long as you practice social distancing. For those of you that don't know, that's staying at least 6 feet away from people. Okay, fine. So, what I want to talk about is our current situation in the U.S. and how it relates to Venezuela. Now, I'm sure other people have done videos on this. I don't know. I haven't seen them. Or if I have seen them, I can't remember them. But I remember when this panic first started with people going to the grocery stores and buying everything they could find, everybody was stocking up on toilet paper, paper towels, tissues for your nose. Some people were like, why is everybody buying toilet paper? What the heck's the problem? I'll tell you why. So when Venezuela started having all their issues last year, maybe the year before that, what's one of the first things they ran out of? Toilet paper. I don't know why. Maybe people just use massive amounts of it. Who knows? Whatever. I'm not here to judge. So, all right. So toilet paper wasn't hard to find situation. I haven't been to the store in probably a week, so I wouldn't know if it's back in stock. What else? So toilet paper, food. Food, the last time I went to the grocery store, canned goods were out. Water was out. Pasta was out. Meats were out. Prepared foods, ironically, they still had. Junk food, still had. So, cleaning products, nope. Good luck. Clorox wipes, hand sanitizer, gone. Interesting fact, you can take Pool Shock, as long as it's calcium hypochlorite, at least I think 73%, you can make your own Clorox solution. Look it up. So, toilet paper's hard to find. Food, hard to find. Pardon the noise, the fridge kicked on. Just recently, the Senate is talking about passing the largest stimulus bill ever in American history. $2 trillion. $2 trillion. All right, let's put this into perspective. In the last great financial crisis, the GFC as it's called, for short, 2008, the markets imploded. Stock market bubble, housing bubble. The Fed added $3.9 trillion to the economy that they just typed up on a keyboard, and then banks could lend that money out. $3.9 trillion to get us out of that mess. We're in month 1 of whatever we're going to call this, and they're passing $2 trillion. Now, when I say passing, it's passed the Senate, right? So the House passed a bill, it went up to the Senate. Senate didn't like it, so they renegotiated. They passed something. Now it's got to go back down to the House to get ratified. $2 trillion. Okay. Over 50% of what we spent to get us out of the 2008 mess is being spent in round 1 right now. There was a figure that I heard thrown out on the news, and I don't remember who said it. I was at work when I heard it. But they're talking, this is just the first step in probably what is going to be at least $6 trillion worth of stimulus. $6 trillion. I can't even fathom that amount of money. I mean, it just boggles my mind. You know, when I was growing up, I used to think $1 million was a lot. In high school, $100 million was a lot. College, $1 billion, a couple $1 billion was a lot of money. Now, we're talking trillions. A T, trillions. So, what else? Apparently, the CEO of Boeing, and I don't remember his name, doesn't matter, as of March 26th, was saying that, well, we would like a bailout from the government, the taxpayers, but we don't want the government to take an ownership interest in Boeing. Okay. First off, I don't want the government owning private businesses, or public businesses for that matter. I don't think that's right. But if you're going to ask for a bailout, and the government is saying, well, we'll give you a bailout, we'll help you, seeing as how airline travel has plummeted, we'll help you out, but we're not going to give you free money, okay? So, quid pro quo here. I know, everybody's sick of hearing that word, right? Those two words. Quid pro quo. We'll give you $60 billion, but we want a piece. And on top of that, we want you to actually be responsible with that money. So we're going to put some strings on it. No stock buybacks. No exorbitant bonuses. And no dividends for 5 years. 5 years plus 1 more year after you pay back the loan. That's right. It's not a bailout, it's a loan. So, why $60 billion for Boeing? Well, if you haven't been paying attention to the markets, and particularly paying attention to Boeing, they've had some issues. They've had their Boeing 737 MAX that's crashed 2 airplanes, and the MCAS program system, or whatever it's called, and they knew about it. They knew it was bad. They knew it was faulty, but they put it on it anyway because they wanted the money. They wanted to sell some airplanes. And not only did it kill a couple hundred people when it crashed those 2 airplanes, the FAA rubber stamped Boeing's approvals of the system. So you've had that going on, and the stock plummeted. Now you have this situation where airlines have basically stopped operating. They're still operating, but to a limited degree. And Boeing is saying, well, hang on a second. We spent approximately $60 billion in stock buybacks the last year. $60 billion, you don't say, for stock buybacks. And for those that don't know, when a company buys its stock back, it takes shares out of the market, which then increases the price of the stock. So you increase the price of the stock, making all the rest of the unit holders' price go up, which makes them wealthier, which then they can then sell for a higher price. So Boeing is saying, well, we want 60 billion because that's how much money we spent buying back our stock, making stockholders wealthier, but we don't want any strings attached. Seems hypocritical, right? And then when the government said, well, we'll give you 60 billion, but it'll be a loan, there'll be some strings attached, the CEO says, nah, that's okay. We have some other avenues that we can get some liquidity. Seriously? Seriously, Boeing? Shame on you. I've been an Airbus fan. That's just me. I think their planes are nicer. That's just me. From a passenger perspective, I don't fly them. I'm not smart enough to do that. So why do I bring that up? Venezuela nationalized a lot of companies. They used to be somewhat capitalistic. And then this Maduro guy got in power, started nationalizing everything. It started with the oil companies. And there's one thing the governments don't do well. I mean, there are many, but they don't run for-profit businesses very well. They just don't have the expertise to do it, right? That's why we have entrepreneurs that create businesses, grow the businesses, and become wealthy. So, toilet paper's out of stock. Paper towels are out of stock. Cleaning products, food are out of stock. And now the government is talking about nationalizing businesses. Yeah, sure, they call them loans, whatever. Believe it if you want to. But now they're nationalizing companies. Royal Caribbean, Norwegian Cruise Lines. Stocks have tanked, like 75% at least. Now they've been back up a little bit the last few days, but it's been huge since February. Or huge. So, yeah, the government's probably going to own a substantial portion of the economy. Or, as I like to say, the Fed, through just the random adding of digits to a computer, are going to own a massive amount of businesses. Maybe not outright, maybe just a partial share. Nationalizing the economy. It's pretty impressive. We went from a capitalist country, in the early 1900s, mostly throughout our entire history, since 1776, up until the early 1900s. And now, in 2020, the government is owning companies. It's kind of crazy, right? We'll see where it goes. But, yeah. You thought long lines for food in Venezuela was crazy? People buying toilet paper and hoarding it in the U.S. was crazy? They ran out in Venezuela. I heard stories. You could take toilet paper rolls from the U.S. to Venezuela. You're like a freaking king. Interesting, right? Now there's long lines outside of grocery stores at Costco when they open up. What's next? Venezuela, when they couldn't get food, they went to the zoos. And they had some exotic meats, if you know what I'm saying. I feel bad for the animals. I certainly do. But, man, it's going to be interesting, folks. Let's find out where it goes. Talk to you soon.